All right, everybody, before I start, if you can stand up, go ahead and stand up. This is what I want you to do. Knuckle bump the person next to you, tell them that they're awesome. You made it through 7 great speeches today. All right, now sit down. You guys are great. You know, I've sat in the audience a lot, and after a while, you can only sit for so long. So I wanted to do that for you. So, all right, let's go. Who are you? Me? I'm a mama's boy all grown up. Growing up, as children, I think we all had somebody we looked forward to seeing, looked up to, wanted to impress. And for me, that was my mom. She taught me a lot about life. She was a positive vibe, always. She was my first life coach. She taught me a lot of lessons. One of them has brought me great success. I'm going to share it with you today. But I made it my own. The way she used to say it is, you are who you hang out with. She did it in a better voice than I did. I promise. I've heard this rephrased multiple times, though. Show me your friends, and I'll show you your future. Your network is your net worth. I like to say it like this. Be careful who you let into your life, because they will change it. This one lesson has brought me a lot of wins. In over almost 3 decades, I've worked in the special operations community, a previous administration's White House. Every organization that I was assigned to won major awards. We rode at breakneck speeds. We broke records. We worked at elite paces. And I say we, because it wasn't just me. This has given me the gift to be around elite people because I chose them. And you can too. That's what it's given me. Being named a top 40 under 40 in technology and innovation, and being thanked by thousands of leaders and their teams for helping them win. This is where it started. My mom was no joke. Anybody relate? She was serious about what she said. She placed me in places where I would learn valuable lessons. She also introduced me to books, seminars, and she kind of pushed me in the military direction because that's kind of what we do in our family. What I learned is I wanted to be a leader. I wanted to be the best leader I could be. And what I found was every leader needs to make decisions. And from chumps to champs, I found this model. You've probably seen it before. It's the 5 W's. Who, what, where, when, why, and if you're fancy, how. These 6 things, when paired together, give you the best choice and options to make the best decisions possible. Or so they say. What I found was, when someone was appointed as a leader, they would get excited. Like it was a gift. And they were going to unwrap it and have these immense changes unfold before them. But instead of a joyous holiday, they usually look like this ginger-bearded man. Yeah, in this photo, I'm looking at a leadership masterpiece. There's chess pieces everywhere, and I've got to win. Some people are playing checkers on my chessboard. There's pieces upon pieces because everybody wants to do the easy job. But as crazy as this looks, it works. Books and seminars and talks have gone countless hours about teaching you how this is awesome. So I used it, and I paired it with my mom's advice to decide what I was going to do with my life. And my friends, who were children still, started with why. They said, why don't you go into special forces like your grandpa? Get a Green Beret or a Ranger tab. Or why don't you become a Navy SEAL? You're an athlete. But my dad was wise. And he started with who? He said, son, I know you. I know who you are. You are an athlete, but you're also an intellectual. And of all these job choices that the military is offering, this one will put you next to the top brass. This model got really confusing. But I took my dad's advice. 2 years later, I was able to change the Air Force promotion system. They still use it today. Huge win for me, small win for the Air Force. But I got promoted to the rank of sergeant. And for those of you who aren't familiar with military terms, sergeant comes from the Greek word servant leader. So I got my own decision bubble to work in. I was extremely excited. And since I made this major change, I got to work in a larger decision cycle. And I found something you probably have seen before. Instead of 6 things, it's only 3. See, 30 years ago, email was relatively new. And my decision makers were at the 4-star general level. So I printed out their emails and I put them in a binder for decision. And one of the emails that I printed out said that my 4-star could make a decision on someone like me going to college and becoming a full-time leader, or what we call a commissioned officer. And I really wanted this. So I went in my boss's office. I said, sir, you think I could do this? He said, Aultman, put your package together, we'll find out. 2 months later, the 4-star general came down and he gave me this note. And on it, it says, congratulations, I chose you. And I found a new model. I thought I had it figured out. I thought it was the 5 W's, but elite leaders only do 3. So I had to think again, and it changed my perspective. Because when I got this note, I felt like that guy you just saw. The weight just coming down on me. So I wanted to backwards plan this decision that was just made, and all the other generals' decisions. And I found that the general only focuses on these 3 things. And this is how it looks, and you've seen it. When faced with a problem, you ask, how much is it going to cost for that problem to go away? How much time is it going to take, right? When can it be done? And then you ask, who can do it? The problem isn't the questions. The problem is the order that they're normally asked in, and it's that order. When you ask, how much does it cost? You bring it to the finance people. They crunch the numbers. The accountants come back with a figure. And then you go over to the time zone, and you ask the operations cell and the production folks, how much time should this take? And they say, if we start now, because they always say, if we start now. It's always, we're starting now. It should take this much time. And then they take that figure and the money figure, and they give it to someone like you, or they'd give it to me, and I go, this is a terrible idea. When do I start? Because like you, I didn't back down from a challenge. This model served me really well. So well that I used it thousands of missions, hundreds of elite people and teams. The most elite teams that I could be on. I found success with that model, and I thought I had it figured out. 30 countries. I got wicked problems, and I found wicked smart people to fix them. People were coming on to my team, trying to glom on to my wins, and I let them. And I'll tell you about that. But guess what? It's only one thing. Every general that I worked for, 4-star, 3-star, 2-star, 1-star, if they wore a star up here, they always looked at who. Who can fix this problem? And then they asked them, how do you fix this problem? And then they would come up with a figure, and they'd say, hey, it costs this much money and this much time. And guess what? You move faster that way. But when you're just looking at the expert, it's amazing. And I didn't just figure this out until recently. See, when I was in Afghanistan, the commanding general of special operations called me into his office because I was one of his directors. And he said, Aultman, you crushed it. And I said, what I always say when I hear those words, I crushed it? Sir, thank you, but my team is awesome and amazing. They do amazing things every day. They are talented beyond measure. He goes, I agree, go tell them. So I ran back to the team. I said, hey guys, the commanding general said you crushed it, and I agree. They said, Colonel, that's great. Come in here. We got something for you. They opened up the door, and they had a naming ceremony set up for me. And this is a sacred event. And the reason why is because you don't get a name unless you're deemed someone who you would go to war with. Who you would go to war with. And they enter you into a new family. And when you enter into that new family, you get a new name. And that new name is something that you use for the rest of your life and theirs. It's a sacred event. Each one is different. This is how mine went. It started with stories. They said, sir, when you got here, you told us who you were, and you told us who you weren't. And you didn't lie, because you didn't do anything you said you were bad at. And you asked us what we were passionate about. And you moved us around the team until it was almost crazy, but then we started moving faster. And then we started battlefield rotations. And we talked to the Green Berets and the Rangers and the SEALs, the experts who needed us. And we moved so fast. You took the knowledge of the stars that you had gained. By living on the sidelines of history, you gave us these lessons every day. And you carried us through this tough time in history, almost like you were standing still. So it's only fitting that we call you Atlas. And now everyone that I let into my life calls me Atlas. Now I made my mom mad. And this is why. And this is tough. When I was born, my mom named me Joshua Michael, which I've been told multiple times stands for leader of warriors. And since I am no longer able to do that, and I have a new name by those warriors, if she were still alive today, I think she would call me Atlas. Because she named me to do exactly what I did. And because of her advice, I became exactly who she needed me to be and exactly where I needed to be, because my family has a history of doing this and we're really good at it. So when I joined the Air Force and not the Army, it was a slap in the face. Now here's where it comes back to you. I'm giving you my mom's advice. I'm giving you my experience. And I'm going to tell you how to use it. There's 3 things that you need to know. Who are you? And who are you not? Who's on your team? Are you pigeonholing your players? Are you fueling their passions? You'll see amazing things happen when you know who your team is. And who are your partners? This is the hardest one. Because people love winners. And they love to be the winners. So when they claim your win is theirs, you have to let it happen. Because they associate with you, and together you win bigger. Here's your mission. Find out the answers to those questions. Because every process I gave you today starts with who. And if you're an elite leader, sometimes it ends there too. Starting with who is how elite leaders win. And that's what I need you to do. Thank you.